Good morning. It is great to see you out this morning. So it was a sunny day, and for me, I reflected back on spring break because I went to someplace warm, and I know there are a lot of trips that went to warm places. And so we want to highlight just the immersion trips and some of the experiences that different ways that we saw God work. And I think the best way to do that is to have you hear it from students. So I want to introduce you to two senior students. And the first one is Rachel White. And so Rachel has a little fan club here. She went on the Texas trip. And she is a senior. And tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah. So, hello, my name is Rachel Wightman. I am a senior from St. Charles, Illinois, and I study sociology. I have a minor in ministry, graduating in May, and I am an intern for Young Lives, something I'm really passionate about. It's a ministry that works with teen moms, so yeah.
Great, thanks. Mm-hmm. And then Isaac Braak, who is a senior. He led the Orlando trip. So tell us a little bit about yourself, too.
I did. I'm a senior from Grand Haven, Michigan. I'm double majoring in public accounting and business, and I'm a proud member of Hope Men's Soccer. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
great soccer player, I'm going to add. So great. Thank you for both sharing. And in addition, I want to just say that I've known both of these students over 4 years. So I think I'm crying. But more than stories or great trips or what a person does, I think it's important to have character. And I see that in both of you guys. So that is just been a joy, and want to acknowledge that in both of you guys. So we had 10 trips, 10 different locations, teams of many of you that went out during our spring break. We mentioned 2, but I have to mention the 8 other ones. So we went by train, plane, we loaded up in vans, and so there was a Cali trip, a Chicago trip, a Denver trip, a DR trip, a New Orleans, Mandeville, Mobay, and Nashville. Over the last weeks, I've heard several stories just kind of erupt, and even as in our campus ministry, we are so encouraged to hear the stories of how you have seen God work in these different communities. Even this morning, Paul Boersma came in and said, I just met with a couple people, and you guys heard this. And we love to be encouraged by your stories, and even if it's through each other on our staff. And I will tell you, no names are mentioned. It is just, we continue to encourage even each other how God is working in you and through you. And so I want you to hear just a little synopsis, and we're not highlighting the Orlando, Texas trip. These stories could be told really from many of the trips, because I continue to hear how community gets built among you as well as in that community. And so I'm going to start out with Rachel. I'm going to ask you, actually, I'm going to go back to Isaac because we have a pattern here. Isaac led, as you heard, the trip to Orlando. And so I want you to kind of talk about how you saw God work in Cayley Square.
Yeah, so in Orlando, we actually had an opportunity to work at a couple different sites, but at each site, I definitely saw God working through people. So Dave Cool was our adult leader for the Orlando trip, and he had all the connections down there. He actually connected us to a lady named Yvette. She worked in Cayley Square at the community center, but they both had kind of the saying for the week, and Dave would repeat this. Doing justice is creating a world where all people have an equal opportunity to fully develop the gifts that God has placed within them. So the work that we did in Cayley Square was centered around this. And actually, Yvette in the community center would send out surveys in the community and try to look for where there's need in the community. And the surveys came back, and they found out that they needed to build a child care center because a lot of the people in the community of Cayley worked more than one job, and they needed a place for their kids to stay at night or during the day. So that building that was for the child care center was where most of our work was centered around, and we would paint and do construction. But during the week, I really saw Dave Cool as a light. He is fully immersed into that community, and it was awesome to work alongside something that was already going on. Dave really showed me what like complete service was, and that's what God has called us to do, and I think it was definitely inspiring. But another place we actually worked at was called Give Kids the World. This is a resort, and it's for kids with chronic illnesses or life-threatening illnesses. And at this resort, it's like a free week, so these kids get to go and have ice cream, have like anything they want. But during the week, we served food to them, and we ran the rides. But what I saw, which was pretty awesome, was even in the midst of like bad circumstances, obviously they're there because of their illness, but I saw a lot of joy, and I believe that is a direct reflection of God, and it's amazing.
It's kind of a description of, I would say, raw beauty,
Yeah.
in the sense of, these parents are hurting, and there's a lot of pain when you have physical illness, and yet to be able to have some joy, or, kids, even if they're sick, they still want to have fun. We all love to have fun. And so you got, I think, just like a little glimpse of just, maybe a little respite for these families. So thanks for serving that way. And then Rachel, tell us about the ministry that you served alongside.
Yeah, so like Nancy had said, I went to Austin, Texas. So we were serving at a ministry called Community First Village. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a Community First Village. So it is a literal village outside of Texas, or outside of Austin. And it is filled with tiny homes and renovated RVs. It literally feels like holy ground. Like, it is a literal slice of heaven. So when you're in this community, the members, the residents, there's currently like about 240 residents. Some of those consist of the missionals, so those are people who just like work with the residents, and then the residents are all men and women that are that were previously homeless, living in the streets of Austin, chronic homelessness, like they were going to die in the streets. So this village, these men and women get offered an affordable and permanent housing, and yeah, it is wonderful, and it is based in community. Yeah.
It's great. How did your faith grow?
Yeah, so with the name Community First Village, I think my faith in a lot of ways was awakened to like what community is and what the Lord wants community to look like. Something that they taught us in this village is that a roof over your head it's just simply not going to solve like all of your problems. But they fully believe, and I believe that the Lord thinks this as well, is that a God-centered, faithful community that stands behind you can really solve those problems and those deep pains within us. Something that our adult mentor, Steve, and we love Steve, he's awesome. So something that he taught us, as well as this village, was that there is power in saying yes. And when we were there, that was so evident. This community, it started with a vision. And Alan Graham, the man who like kind of catalysted this, he just said yes. He was like, I have this desire and I'm going to run with it. And I think my faith in a lot of ways was shaped in saying yes and believing that the Lord is going to do something beautiful with the things that you say yes to. And in a lot of ways, trusting that God is going to use what you give him. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. So Isaac, what was your biggest takeaway from this experience?
I actually got two things. So
I'll let you do two. We're watching the clock, but I'll let you do two.
Long car rides, serving, and laughs bring you closer to 22 people than you could ever imagine. I didn't know a lot of people on the trip before going, but doing everything and serving with them really brought me close to them, and I can say that they're all my friends now. And also this trip brought me a lot of joy. A story from that actually comes from the last day. We had the opportunity to work with an older couple, and we got to paint their house. And Billy, the older gentleman, he couldn't be there until the last day. And when we were serving, the very first couple minutes of the day, I go up to him and I'm like, "Hey, Billy, can we have a paintbrush? We're low and we got to finish this house." And he's like, yeah. And he's like a really slow-moving man, but he goes back to his shed, comes out, brings the paintbrush, and I'm like, "Okay, that's good. Like we're fine." And then throughout the entire day, he would go back to his shed and bring out something random for us, and we'd be like, "Thanks, Billy. This is awesome, but I don't need it." But it was like awesome to see like the joy in his face, like that we were helping, and we were helping him do something that he couldn't get up on the ladder, but he could help us with the stuff he brought us, and that was pretty amazing.
That's neat. That's really neat. So I continued to hear through these stories, and I know you heard too, that the community that was built, you went down to 22 different people, and I know one of the leaders, Emily, and she led the Chicago trip, and she met our dear friend, they're both seniors now, Maddie, and relationships do get developed out of this. And we love to see that, and we love to just enter in to see what God is doing in the different communities. And our desire is for this 1 week to not be like a camp experience, but that we can take things away and enter back into hope, or you're, as seniors, entering into your vocation, that you're going to carry out what you learned. And one of the verses, Hebrews 10:23-24, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess. For he who promised is faithful, and let us consider how we may spur one another on into love and good deeds." And we got to see people that are living in faith, their good deeds, and we have opportunities, and we're called to do that as Christian, not to earn God's favor, not for anything for us, but totally for God's glory. And that's what we want, is for the name of Christ to be just spread throughout the world. And it was in the communities already. God is doing a great work, and we were just privileged to get a little peek at that. So I'm going to formally dismiss you. We do have a little slideshow that we've developed for you to leave upon, or if you don't have a class, you can sit and listen. So blessings, go live for Jesus.